And then they said something about looking at the lawnmower. This one here is empty. It's got oil in it. Is that the one I'm supposed to work on? If that's the case, I'll probably put gas in it. See if it starts. And there's one here. And there's one here. This is a Briggs 550EX. So let's see what we do got for oil. Looks like it's almost to the full mark. Or at least halfway in between, so it'll be alright to start it. Now gas. Oh, at least I didn't drop it down in the gas tank. Don't even work. Huh. Worked before I dropped it. Now see right down there, I believe is a screen. Alright, let me put a bit of gas in and see what happens. Don't need to put too much in. Oh dear. Now, we know there was some oil. Is there anything else that can stop this from running? No primer bulbs, no nothing. Think it'll start? Oh man. It'd be funny if it started just out of gas. I don't know if my back can take this or not. Okay, so no starty start. So what we want to do first, we could check for spark, or we could take this off and shoot just a little dab of something in there and see if it'll fire off of it. If it does, then we know that it has spark. Let me go get something. Oh, this can's pretty much empty, but all we need is a little squirt. And I don't know what I got you on here. Anyway, I don't push it right past the choke. Now that'll be enough to see if it'll fire. Oh man. My back hurting, getting up and down is pretty rough right now. So it fired. So right there is telling us it's all in the fuel. So what we need to do is probably get this up on the table, take some covers off, and see what we get that way. Just don't be in that carburetor. It got spark because it wouldn't have fired. I'm not sure what size they're supposed to be. The 9/32 and 5/16 seems to fit. There should be a hose on the back of this. Yeah, right there it is. That hose there, you want to make sure that's good and that stays on there, because if you think about it, if you can suck air in here with no hose on there, everything your filter is sealing out is just worthless, because it would come right through here. So you got to make sure that's hooked up. All right, now it starts getting better, because we gotta get that carb off of there. I don't know how good I can show you this and be able to see and do it, not look like a fool. But anyway, you got a linkage here for the choke, and you got one down here for the throttle. Goes down to the governor. You can, I don't know if you can see here, this just has like the rod comes out, bends down, and then comes back over. I can feel the end of it right there. Now this carburetor is on like a little O-ring, so you might have to work it back and forth a little bit to get it off of there. Oh, you know what we should have done? I do that all the time. And it's something we need to do anyway, because we got to check this. We need to take this fuel line off. There's a filter or a screen in the bottom of this tank, I believe. And if I take this, if I pinch this line off and I take this fuel line off and try to drain that gas into something, I want to see it flow out of the tank. All right, because it could be this filter in here plugged up, not even the carburetor. So maybe I should do that. GoPro, stop recording. Now I like to just I just use needle nose vice grips. Then we'll get that off there. Let me go out and get my cup. Actually, I better get a gas can because I just poured a little bit of gas in there. This could be harder to do than it looks. Okay. That was a tight getting it off of there. I'm gonna put this in here. I did see a little bit of gas. And it's running in. I can hear it. See, it's running. So we got a steady flow from the tank. So I'm gonna say our filter in here is probably pretty good. I'm gonna just go ahead and drain this gas out of here. So I'll bring you back when that happens. GoPro, stop recording. So let's see if we can get this off of here. It's dark in here, hard to see. Try to roll this carburetor back. I hate to do that with pliers because you end up bending things, but I'm gonna have to. I couldn't get it twisted far enough. I'll try to zoom you in here in a second. This one here, it's kind of the same deal. You gotta bend it sideways. I don't know if you can see how that comes out, down, and over. So we just got to get it to where we can turn the carburetor and get it off there without bending stuff up. So we got the carburetor off of here. Let's move over here to my dirty desk. There's a white piece here and an O-ring inside there. It may stay on here, okay? If it stays on there, fine. If it stays in here, fine. Just don't forget, because if you don't have that white piece and that O-ring, you'll get a vacuum leak right here. So let me go ahead and get over here under the bench. GoPro, stop recording. So what do we got here? We got that little 9/32, I guess, again. You know, a lot of times I'll take a cup or something. White stuff seems to let you see water and stuff a lot better. There's a little O-ring in the base of this. So you got to get in here and you got to kind of pry this up a little bit and go a little bit at a time. I try to go here. I try not to get in between the gasket flange much. I'd like to have seen what was in there. Looks like old stale gas, doesn't it? I don't see no water or nothing though. Now remember which way you take this cap off. There is a drain in there, see? Has a gunky feel to it, like stickiness. So all this stuff here, all this rubber stuff, try not to saturate it hard with carburetor cleaner and stuff. You could even take that and roll that off of there and not expose it to that. Most of your problem, and it looks like it is going to be maybe, that little jet right there gets plugged up. All right, so let's just see if we can push a bread tie through there. Some of them so small that I haven't got a bread tie in them. Okay, so I got me a bread tie and I took the coating off of it. I'm going to try to see if we can get this in there. Oh, and it does go right in there. That's not what I was expecting. Let's see if we can blow into this line right here. If you can blow into that, that means that port's open and the needle valve's opening up. I can, and if you turn it upside down, it should shut it off. And it does. I say. So let's just go ahead and pop this little pin right here up. They're not like the old ones that push through the hole. They just pop in, come up out of there pretty easy. And everything just looks, you know, everything is just like sticky. That needle valve. I don't know if you're seeing this or not. So that needle valve sticks to my finger. That's not good. Needle valve shouldn't stick to your finger like that. So here's something you can do. You can get in between here, or try to just pop this up. There's O-rings in here. I probably ought to get me a little screwdriver and get in the side here. Let me do that so I don't break nothing. Let's see what we can do here. Get in the side there maybe. Some of these don't like popping out of there very easy. I say a lot of times I can pop them up like this. You just gotta make sure you don't mess up the gasket surface. That's not coming out of there very easy. One side's starting to come up. This side over here is not wanting to come up. See, we can help it along. We don't want to tear up the plastic. So I'm kind of pulling up. At the same time, I'm trying not to put as much, you know what I mean? I'm trying not to tear that up. And remember which way it goes. Remember that hole right here is going to go toward the needle valve. Alright. There it comes up out of there. Now this is all gunky and nasty in there. Again, you got O-rings. Try to keep the stuff off the O-rings. If you take this part off, it should come off there, I think. Now you can clean out all these little holes here. There's a whole bunch of little holes that needs cleaned out. It's funny that it's so sticky. I wonder if they put some kind of, and the other thing that gets to me is, where did all the gas in the tank go? The oil's low. I don't know. Well, I don't say here, first thing I'm gonna do is spray off all these parts here. I don't get the gunk off the float. Here, we'll just do that. You don't want the stuff to be sticky, okay? Now, when you do these, be careful with those O-rings. Try not to stress on the O-rings, okay? Try not to, whatever you get on the O-rings, would wipe it right back off. Now, the bread tie thingy here. In there, make sure. So we're going to try to get a little bit of carburetor cleaner sprayed through everything. And then I'm going to leave these parts to lay out here to dry. Ooh, my old thing's crushed in the end. Well, I hope you're seeing all this. I'm not very good with this GoPro yet, guys. It is coming out the bottom hole there a little bit. I think it is. That little carburetor cleaner, and just let it soak for a minute. Don't lose that float pin. Also, make sure that float pin don't have the sticky stuff all over it. Okay. I'm just gonna wipe this off, just to try to help get the sticky stuff off. Now lay this off to the side. So I kind of sprayed down in here after what I did, I ran that up in here. Kind of cleaned out what I could. And now if I spray this in the bottom here, you'll see it comes out these holes. There, see it coming up? So what we're going to do is try to blow some back in this way. See it coming out? Now we're going to take this needle valve and I'll spray it off, and then I'll wipe it off quick because I don't want that carburetor cleaner all on that rubber dip. Still like sticky. So I think we might be okay on the needle valve again. It feels a lot better. So now let's put this part back together. I can hear that blowing. Make sure you had all those cleaned out and all that inside there cleaned out. And there, snap back together. So this, other than I want to blow some air through there, should be good to go. This one over here, I ain't sure what the deal with this one is. It doesn't always... What's always got me was that main jet or down inside of here. That's what's always gets me most of the time. Now watch, I'll say that in the next carburetor come in, it'll be completely different. So I need to get the rest of this cleaned out. Remember, try not to leave it on them O-rings too long. You got to get all that crap out of there, that sticky stuff. Now for this part. There again, see these gaskets? We don't want to traumatize those with carburetor cleaner. I don't think there's much wrong. So what I'm going to do is just, I think it's just whatever they used in that gas got sticky. Sometimes stabilizer is not your friend. I know a lot of people that does that, and I think they have as much or more troubles as I do with them. Now there's a couple things in here. There is another ring and stuff in there. You can spray some stuff up in there and see if you see it come out. You should. You can see that metal tube. You can see the tube in there. I see that tube in there. Can you see that? There's a collar in here, and those will spin sometimes and make it so you can't get the tube back in. There's a hole up here we'll spray in. See it coming out the bottom. There's another little tiny pinhole thing over here. Little brass looking thing. We'll try to get some. I seen some dripping out the bottom. We'll see if we can get a bread tie in the hole. Make sure my bread tie's straight. Now if you had trouble with the choke, it's because you've let that ring slip out of there. I don't know if I got something in there. Or there is even a hole in that thing. I don't know, we're gonna go with cleaning up through all these holes in here. I can see that one's open. This one over here. I can see it somehow running out of there, so ain't sure where it's coming from. That's kind of weird. I think I've had them issues before. Let's just give it a little. Make sure that needle, you know, you can take a Q-tip if you want to and clean inside so that the sides of the needle can't stick. Maybe we'll do that here too. And I don't do now is I don't get the air compressor and I don't blow some of these pieces out, and we don't let her set. Just anything just to lube these up is to touch. And all it takes is a well, that's not looking promising, is it? Now which way did that hole go, you remember? Remember that hole went up here. So when you put that in there, so it'll have resistance on it. I can see it coming up through the hole in the center. So we're on the right track. We just got to get it. You got to make sure it's all the way up in there and seated. Remember, it was sitting pretty much flush when you took it out of there. So that ought to have it. Make sure your choke still opens and closes. If it hasn't, if it don't open and close, that means you ain't got that tube up through the hole in the right place. So right there should be it, right? So I just don't give enough to get her wet. I'm more or less focusing on the walls. I want to make sure there's nothing that can make that needle valve stick. Cause I don't know what was in here, but it was sticky. So sticky to what I do with the needle valve. Oh boy, there it is. I'm gonna also take this needle valve where I wetted that down. I'm just gonna try to clean these sides off. On this edge right here, that's where a lot of them stick. A lot of people clean the seat and everything else, but don't clean the edges of the needle valve. And that's where they stick a lot of times. That rubber on the bottom, you want it to be clean, but you don't want to eat it up with stuff either. And now this is just on a hang in the bottom. There's a slot there. And the pin just goes through there. You got to make sure that pin spins free too. And we're just gonna drop the needle valve down in the hole. And then we can take and get this pin about in the center and just push it down in there. There's one side went in. There's the other side went in. You want to hear them pop when they go in there. And there's on the bottom of that pin right there, underneath of it, you want it to snap down in that groove. You don't want to see daylight below it. Alright? Upside down is blocking the needle valve off. But I'm getting fuel that way. So now we got to put this back on. And remember, it goes this way. This little pickup is over here. See, you're lucky. See that pickup thing? See how that channel is? And if you put this in there, it fits right up in, this fits right up in there. That's how it gets its gas, so it has to go that way. There again, if you want to put a little WD-40 on this gasket, you can. Alright. Where'd they go, where'd they go, where'd they go? Now when you put these back in, you're not trying to be Hercules, remember? You just want to get them started in there and get them snug. You're going in the plastic. The other thing is, it's either going to run or it ain't. You can buy one of these carburetors for 15 bucks or so. I'm not sure if HIPAA makes any, but usually if I go to get a carburetor, if there's a HIPAA one available, that's what I'll take. So now we're ready to put this puppy back on there, huh? Put Put this back, huh? Put the drill bit back. Put the drill bit back or you won't have it. Yeah. Here we got one on. Let's see if we can get this other one on here. This one I might have to hold. Don't go right into this hole right here. Huh, that wasn't so bad after all, eh? Now I just gotta figure out where that piece is. We gotta get this on there. There, it's back on. And that's linkage is on, the choke works. That one's on. So all we gotta do now is hook the fuel line on, guys. This piece here, we're gonna go ahead and clean it off a little bit and then we'll put it on. GoPro, stop recording. So what do you think? Think it's gonna go or no go? Well, I hope it runs. See, it was smoking a little bit, but you know what, that's probably where I've had this thing rolled around and stuff like that, and oil probably got up in that cylinder. I'm gonna take it out here and mow for a minute and then I'll bring you back.